If you asked a driver in the ARCA REMAX series where they'd like to win more than anywhere else, chances are they would give you one simple answer: Daytona. A track where achieving timeless fame can be daunting.
Number 5 for Bobby Gerhart. Gerhart winning at Daytona again.
But in doing so can ignite a career of success, where one adheres with the likes of Katona, Parsons, Petty, and Richmond. And tonight, 43 drivers will pursue that dream of winning the year's biggest event. There's only one place to race. There's only one place to win. There's only one Daytona.
In 1964, the Automobile Racing Club of America came to Daytona Beach, Florida for the first time. And for the past 45 years, they have been coming back year after year. This is the 46th running of the Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 from Daytona Beach, Florida, Daytona International Speedway. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Ken Schrader with you once again to kick off the 2009 season. Let's get to the nuts and bolts of this. Phil, the field once again extremely impressive.
Boy, it really is. First of all, we've got a guy that's won this race 5 times, Bobby Gerhart, starting back in the 6th spot. But right in front of him, we have 5 Toyotas, and including a couple guys on row number 2 that really want to get some experience. And that's the guy right there, Michael Annett, who won this race last year. And that 25 car is Joey Logano. Everybody knows that he's going to run the full Sprint Cup Series for Joe Gibbs Racing, trying to get a little more track time here at Daytona in this number 25 Home Depot car. And then we go back to row number 12. On the outside of that row, a 9-time champion here in the ARCA REMAX Series, but he's never won this race here at Daytona. And the polar opposite on the inside is probably the greatest driver we've ever seen on 2 wheels. Ricky Carmichael looking to get some experience, Kenny, here at Daytona, and on 4 wheels.
We were very fortunate that Ricky Carmichael drove for us last year in the full Camping World East Series, and he did a phenomenal job. He's going to drive some truck races this year, and he's running the ARCA race for Kevin Harvick to gain some experience, which when you come here the first time, you need the experience. But I guarantee you one thing, he's going to adapt to Daytona a lot better than Frank would adapt to a Supercross.
They call him GOAT, greatest of all time in the Supercross
competitors
series.
Named him.
Yeah, his competitors, his peers. Well, and how about the experience versus inexperience of Daytona?
Anything can happen, whether you're experienced or not here. But when you come to Daytona for the first time, you are not ready. You cannot believe what it's going to be like. You're so pumped up. I've been here I don't know how many years, and I'm still pumped up when I come through the tunnel. Yeah, I know one guy who's really excited, and Wendy Venturini had a chance to talk to him before he strapped in the car. That's the Menards Full Award winner, Justin Lofton, and Wendy Venturini.
It's the first pole for Justin Lofton here at Daytona, as well as the team Eddie Sharp Racing. Justin, not a whole lot of experience at Daytona. Back in 2005, you raced that Rolex 24. What's going on through your head right now about what can possibly happen in today's ARCA race?
Oh, there's a lot of different emotions going on. I'm super excited for the whole ESR team for me to be their first career pole at Daytona. I'm really excited for the number 6 Lofton Cattle Toyota Camry. We put the team together about a month ago, and they've just done an outstanding job. We have Michael Annett's car from last year, so that really reassures, what we did on the pole and what we did in practice. And, I know I have a good race car. I was in watching the video from last year and watching, how he drove the car and his little secrets. So hopefully we can go, put it all together and end up number 1 on lap 80.
A winning driver, a winning race car from last year at Daytona. Let's see if they can do it again here at Daytona. Let's head over to Jim Trado.
And joining Justin on the front row is 20-year-old Allie Owens, a native right here in Daytona Beach. On Stock Car's biggest stage, in the series' biggest start, you'll help lead them to green, Allie. The important question for you is how are you going to maintain your run and be there at the finish at the front?
Well, first of all, to start out here up front at Daytona, my hometown is amazing. My sponsors, electrifyingcareers.com and Eddie DeHonk, gave me the opportunity to come out here in great equipment, and we put it up, front row, and we hope to stay up there. My Aunt Penny has breast cancer, so we have the breast cancer awareness ribbon on the car this week, and it's just an amazing feeling to be out here and be up front.
Certainly not showing the nerves that certainly are well within sight her as she is again in front of a hometown crowd in the biggest race of the year for the ARCA REMAX Series.
Hey, I tell you what, Phil, how amazing is it that a Daytona Beach native up front? That doesn't happen very often.
It really doesn't, but we've got Fireball Roberts and Marvin Pench, both Daytona 500 winners that hailed here from Daytona Beach.
Very cool for Allie Owens. She'll start on the outside of row number 1. It's going to be interesting, the start of this race. Let's get the engines fired. We go for the command.
It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome Lucas Oil Products Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Sam Dale.
Drivers, start your engines.
In the whole crowd. The engines are fired. I think everybody was on the edge of their seats, and he delivered that command extremely calm. So we'll see if there is a calm before the storm when they take to the high banks here at Daytona International Speedway. That is coming up next, the green flag, when we come back to Daytona. Speed's coverage of the Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 is presented by Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil Slick Mist, the fast and easy speed wax. By Remax, outstanding agents, outstanding results. Brought to you in part by Toyota. For the latest on Toyota's drivers and racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. We're about to move forward here at Daytona Beach, Florida. Gorgeous afternoon, 65 degrees, sunny skies, and just a slight breeze.
Yeah, it has really been cold here this weekend, and finally the weather broke, and we're getting some warmer temperatures.
Now, yesterday in practice, when the race cars were out on the track, coming off of turn number 2, take a look at Ryan Fisher. He's in the back of this pack here in the number 15.
Yeah, Ryan was essentially all by himself there coming off turn number 2 and got a little bit loose, and that's not that difficult to do here, is it?
That's very easy to do, and I talked to a couple of guys, and they said their cars were moving around quite a bit yesterday. So I think from past races, everybody knows to tighten them up a little bit more.
Our Lucas Oil race analysis. The length of this race, 200 miles. That equates to 80 laps. The pit window, somewhere between 50 and 60 laps. Depends on which team you talk to. And then the pit road speed, 55 miles per hour.
Yeah, you see that pit window. That's very critical. Obviously, with an 80-lap race, they can go 50 to 60 laps. They can do this race on one lap. I was talking to one stop. I was talking to Bill Gerhardt right before we came up here to the booth, and he said that if the caution came out on lap number 10, he was going to come in then, that early.
Well, you could make it with the yellows. You know, that could you could run the 70 laps then probably.
A lot of cautions. We take a look at now at our Toyota track map of this behemoth, Daytona International Speedway.
You see that 3,000-foot backstretch. You come off turn 2, Kenny, that turn 3 looks like it's 8 miles away.
It does, and when you get down there, it looks like it's flat, and it looks like you're going into a driveway at 200 mile an hour. It's amazing how narrow this whole track is. I mean, when you're 3 wide here, which we'll see a lot of tonight, you got to be paying attention.
And that triangle, you see that little bend at the front start-finish line. That's not a straightaway. That is a turn.
Yeah, I was going to tell you about it. When I came here the first time, 1900-something, it scared the heck out of me. Was that little tri-oval? That was a turn. I don't care what they call it. It's a turn.
Don't let them fool you, folks. The 50s is when this racetrack was built. Take a look at our Menards Pole Award winner, presented by Ansel. Justin Lofton will bring the field to the green flag. What an honor for that young man.
And how exciting is that, knowing that he's got the car that actually won here last year.
Exactly. We take a look at our ARCA Remax starting grid. And again, talking a little bit more about this front row. We've got Justin Lofton that will start on the inside. Allie Owens is going to start on the outside. And we talked about what an honor I think that is for a Daytona Beach native. This would be the dream growing up, to be able to race here at Daytona. And how about starting in front of the field?
Exactly. It's really the dream for every stock car racer all over the country to come here at Daytona. And for Allie, at 20 years old, as you can see her car there on the outside, the 19, to be on the front row here. What a thrill.
And how about row number 2? And a pretty impressive lineup there for those 2 drivers. We got Michael Annett, who has won 2 out of the last 3 super speedway restricted racetracks, and then then on the inside of him, Joey Logano, who everybody's talking about right now, the big name.
You know, Joey's obviously running this race to get some more laps. I had the opportunity to talk with Joey and his daddy out at Fontana Irwindale a couple weeks ago. They're so excited about the full Nextel Cup deal, or Sprint Cup, but they know that he needs more laps. You know, they were counting on a Busch deal or a nationwide deal. I'm really messed up on my names today. They were counting on a nationwide ride for another year. So this is a very important race for him.
We're riding along with a few different cars today. One of those will be Tim George. He has the Ruby Tuesday on board with him. He'll start 34th in that number 2 car.
We're also going to ride along with our 9-time champion Frank Kimmel in the Ansel Menards Ford. Frank will start back in the 24th spot.
On that right here, we're with Patrick Sheltra. He's in the Ferguson Pipe Dodge, who'll be starting 16th. He ran his first ARCA race for us a couple years ago at Pocono.
Talked a little bit about Ryan Fisher with the number 15. You see the baby. I think that's Mum Mum. I'm going to go with. So we'll be riding along with that on board today. And
we're also going to ride along with Matt Carter, the Stein Seed Ford, Larry Clement's team. Larry won this championship so many times with Frank Kimmel. They agreed to separate. Matt jumped in this car last year, did a great job. He starts back in the 11th spot.
So we'll be riding along with a few different cars today. And before the green flag flies, let's head back down for some final thoughts with Wendy Venerini.
There's a lot of talk about the caliber of drivers in today's field, but I don't want to overshadow the talented crew chiefs on pit road today. 11 of them are previously from the Cup Series, one of them being Paul Andrews, Cup Series champion crew chief in years past. Take the raw talent on the racetrack teamed up with the veteran experience of these crew chiefs on pit road today. This ARCA REMAX Series race may just be the most exciting race here for the ARCA Series right here in Daytona. Let's go over to Jim Trado.
And Wendy, the most celebrated and most experienced crew chief in ARCA is Bill Kimmel. 9 championships with his brother Frank. However, today, Bill Kimmel's not on his brother's pit box for the first time since 1998 and their first championship. Bill's son Will makes his ARCA debut here at Daytona, and he'll be on the pit box for his son, Larry Metters. Frank Kimmel's brother-in-law will call the shots on his pit box. Good to know the Kimmel family stays together. They're pitted next to each other, so indeed there will still be a family influence, but Bill Kimmel not on Frank's box to make all the calls today. We'll see how that plays out.
Do you think that's big? I mean, Frank Kimmel not having Bill there to calm him down?
I talked to Frank. He said, hey, that's his son in that car. He said, Bill needs to be over there with Will. So Frank was certainly good with it, and obviously a family member over there. And also now he's got a little drafting help possibly later on.
That's right. Family that races together stays together. We'll find out if there's any truth to that.
Well, hopefully they don't get too together out there.
Just help each other out. Pace car is off the racetrack. We're about to kick off the 2009 ARCA REMAX Series season. Green flag in the air. We're underway. Up through the gears, Justin Lofton looks like he got a good start. Allie Owens on the outside.
With these restricted engines, it's going to take about a lap, maybe even a lap and a half to get these cars up to full speed.
See, Allie Owens is going to duck in behind Justin Lofton right away as they come out of turn number 2.
That's a good move on Allie's part. Get behind them, and hopefully while they're back there side by side, they can put a little distance on them.
What a great shot there as these guys come and gals come down the back straightaway towards turn number 3.
There was a good shot right there, Phil. You talked about when they come at you, but you'll notice now there are 2 yellow lines on the bottom of this racetrack. Everybody in the world that drives a car knows what 2 yellow lines mean. You don't cross them.
Do not pass.
You do not pass. You cannot advance your position below that yellow line. That is the rule, and that is what they are sticking to here at Daytona.
It's what they need to stick to. I mean, it's a good rule. We had some crazy things go on in years past with cutting down, coming out of the tri-oval and using that little sharp straightaway to go underneath someone there, and not good.
That's side-by-side racing for 4th right now. We're starting to see a little bit of a pack pull out there in front. Those 3 cars, if they continue to run together, I'm sure they're going to get caught by the pack behind them, but they're still working well together early on.
But they really are, and they're running single file right now, and that's important. There's no sense. Obviously, when you get side by side like there, you see Bobby Gerhart, that 5-car white and black on the outside. You know, things can happen. You get cars loose on the inside. So anytime you can run single file like that, you're way better off.
Saw Brian Scott in the 8. He's trying to move up on the bottom of the racetrack. He's running 4th right now, behind Joey Logano.
And those two guys are teammates, remember, both out of Venturini Motorsports stable.
Riding along with Patrick Sheltra. That's what it looks like from the top of one of these race cars, going upwards of 190 miles an hour around this racetrack.
See Joey Coulter, that 16 car on the outside. That's Terry Jones, that 30 right in front of him. There's Brian Fisher's on board. You see Bobby Gerhart, 5-time winner. They're battling for the 8th position right now.
Looks like everybody's giving each other a little bit of room here to start this race. It looks bumpy still. I mean, Ken, you're on the racetrack. It seems like it's a bumpy racetrack.
There's a lot of bumps here at Daytona. They've been here as long as I've been here, and down in the bottom part of 3 and 4, you see some of the dark spots in 3 and 4, and especially in 1 and 2. Those are actually places that that's the dips in the track where the cars kind of slide over there. They don't wear up that part of the racetrack.
Is that one of the biggest concerns, making sure you don't bottom out at these speeds?
Well, it's definitely something that we fight. We try to run the car as low as we possibly can to get the smaller profile, to make the car go faster, less stuff in the air. But when you do that, you bottom out.
These guys have had some practice on this racetrack, and ladies, and they had a test here in December, but never have they had this many cars running together at the same time. Looked like somebody got real high off the corner right of your screen. It looked like he made a little bit of contact with a wall coming off turn number 4. Not sure who that was, but it looked like he slid up, just maybe brushed the outside wall.
The car behind him did a good heads up too and shot the gap on the inside. I know there wasn't much room, but he did shoot the gap good.
There's Frank Kimmel on the inside of that 20.
Ooh, little smoke out of that car.
Smoke coming out of the 44 of Kimmel.
Watch this replay. Watch that right there now. Watch that 20 car. That's the car that got up against the wall. As you mentioned, that guy. Ooh, that's probably where that smoke's coming from for Frank Kimmel. He probably has a tire rub right now.
Right rear.
The 21 of Eddie Sharp Racing's driver, Steve Arpin. We see Kimmel still trying to hug that yellow line, stay right on the bottom of the racetrack. Right behind him, the 4 of Ken Weaver.
That's a 47 of Peyton Sellers, and the Jigaloo car right behind Frank Kimmel.
Yeah, they're giving each other room, but that doesn't mean that they're not racing, because they're definitely racing.
Well, and it's been, again, I mentioned a little bit of give and take here. They're giving each other room. You see him ducking down below the yellow line, but again, it's advance your position. You can't advance your position by going below that yellow line.
Yeah, you may be forced down below that double yellow line, and as long as you give your position back, I think the ARCA Remax officials will look at that and let you by with it. There's Mario Gosselin, the 12 car on the inside. Mario's a 3-time winner here in this series, looking for a great run today.
Mike Lynette on the outside of that, or outside row right now, leading that pack in the 0-1 Shigeatori owned race car. Justin Lofton has been the dominant one to start this race, and he doesn't want to relinquish that top spot. Allie Owens has settled into second. We'll be right back with more racing on Speed. Welcome back. Lucas Oil Slick Miss 200 from Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. The field continuing to work their way around this 2.5-mile super speedway. Today's aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD only on DirecTV.
See Ryan Fisher on the outside. He leads that pack on the outside. Looks like they're losing some ground. Eddie Mercer, the Miccosukee Chevrolet on the inside. That 51 car going by.
We had a very close call when we went away to commercial break. It seemed as though Norm Benning was off the pace, and so a couple cars got a little bit nervous and started cheating down the racetrack, one of those being Bobby Gerhart.
Yeah, Bobby's going to come down the racetrack. It looks like he almost makes, if not makes a little bit of contact with Bill Baird in the 52 car.
I was really hoping nobody run into that car today.
I'm sure. But again, everything looks to have shaken out, and we continue under green flag conditions.
See Frank Kimmel there for a moment at Ansel. Menard's Ford still on the racetrack. We saw that tire rub from that earlier contact. It doesn't appear to be something that's going to bring him down pit road.
Justin Lofton got his first and only career win in Michigan a year ago. His super speedway prowess. He's never been at Daytona International Speedway racing before in the ARCA Remax Series, but he did run last year at Talladega, and he had a pretty impressive performance there. Finished up 17th, but a solid performance early on today. A lot of steam looks like it's coming out.
A little bit overheating. That's one of the Toyotas right there.
Camera went by pretty quick.
Couldn't catch a glimpse of which one that was, but obviously that it's going to push all the water out eventually, Kenny. And then the driver's going to say, I think it's cooling off.
Yeah, it's cooling off. The temperature gauge goes right down once it doesn't have any water in it.
See, Matt Carter has pulled that Stein C Ford up to the 5th spot from his 11th position. That green and white car back there behind those 4 Toyotas.
I was really impressed with the job that Matt Carter did last year. I thought he did a very good job.
Wendy Venerini.
Well, Brian Scott, who currently runs 4th out there, does have a game plan for here at Daytona. His teammates today, Joey Logano in the 25 and also the 15 of Ryan Fisher. Their goal was to try and stick together out on the racetrack, stick together on pit road. Keep in mind, Brian Scott raced in the ARCA series in the past. Unfortunately, didn't end up so good, but this chassis that Brian Scott is running today last race in Talladega in 2005. But according to Brian Scott, they have flipped his car. It's a complete new body on Brian Scott's Toyota, and crew chief Ken Rutger feels very confident about their chances today. Jim?
And went to the car that sat on the pole position at Talladega is James Buescher's ride today. He qualified 7th, but a post-qualifying infraction made him start at the tail of the field. This youngster is now up into the top 15, comfortably now racing with Brian Scott down the backstretch. This team has built this car in their shops in Lakeville, Minnesota. It's not Cup affiliated. They got a car, they got equipment, they got their act together at Talladega, and they have something to prove today because they lost the car's transmission early at Talladega. Vengeance on their mind from the fact he has advanced the most positions thus far in this race.
Yeah, that's a great team led by Kevin Sawinski, a great race car driver in his own right. And we caught a glimpse of the 81 of Craig Ghost down on pit road. That's the car that we saw with all the steam coming out. That's one of the 3 Eddie Sharp cars, or actually 4 Eddie Sharp cars led by Patrick Donahue. That particular car, tough break for Craig Ghost.
Single file line now. You see that Craig's car being pushed back right now.
When you see that steam start coming out, you really need to head towards pit road then. Otherwise, you're gonna wind up cooking the engine.
And that's why that hose is at the base of the windshield so the driver can see that steam.
Well, things were heating up with Craig's car. It seems pretty calm on the track right now. Stay with us. Welcome back. Safety crews attending to some of the drivers that were involved in our first incident here of the 2009 season from Daytona International Speedway. And amazingly enough, there was a spin in turn 3, and we knew that was going to bring the caution out. And while we were watching that, the melee began right at the entrance to pit road.
Yeah, that was J.R. Fitzpatrick we saw getting out of that 48 car. And there's Ricky Carmichael, obviously involved in a little pretty square shot with his Monster Energy drink Chevrolet out of the Kevin Harvick stables. There's Tom Hessert. Tom had a great first season last year in the ARCA Remax Series, was looking for a great run today, and you see a lot of damage to that one car.
Be curious to see if the yellow came out, or when the yellow came out, if someone checked up or what here. But it was in front of the accident here.
Watch Peyton Sellers, that 47 car right there. He goes to the outside, gets a little bit loose. It looks like the tires are up, doesn't it, Kenny?
The right sides were up and left. I believe he just got loose.
Got a little bit loose there, and we're watching this. Meanwhile, right after this happened, he does a nice job not letting that car go all the way up to the outside wall. Here's another view of Peyton's car. He had a little car. He had Steve Arp in the 20 car right behind him. You see a lot of guys did a nice job moving to the outside of that car to avoid Peyton. And then you can see the smoke left of your screen. The caution flag was probably out, and somebody more than likely probably checked up. No, there was a contact right there.
The 11 into the back of the 1.
Brian Silas in the 11, and the 1 of Tom Hessert made contact, and that's what started this situation. That happened so early off of turn 4, they may not even have had time to see the caution flag, Kenny.
Did the 11 get into the 1 there?
It looked like like they made a little contact there.
Yeah, it looked like the one maybe the caution did come out, and obviously until we see timing-wise when that caution came out, it looked like the 11 didn't check up for the 1. It looked like the 1 had started to slow down, and then the 1's back in, kicked around, and the 11 was right behind him.
Look at that camera shot there. It really showed how much of a turn that is in the trial.
It's Mike Harmon right there in the 24hotjackets.com Chevrolet. I'm sure pit road more than likely is closed with all the safety trucks down there at the end.
You see a little bit of damage to the 39 of Michael Phelps.
Michael got a little bit of a piece of that incident. Once the 2 cars made contact, the 11 and the 1, and they started spinning around the racetrack, there's unfortunately that's Chase Mattioli. I'm sorry, Brett Butler in the 14 car. Younger brother to Ken Butler III, who ran the ARCA Remax Series for a couple years, and Ken's going to move on to the Nationwide Series this year.
Going to take one more look at this from a higher angle.
Contact is already made there. See car spinning. There's the 09. Yeah, there's significant contact with the 48 of J.R. Fitzpatrick and the 1 of Tom Hessert.
Situation where Tom Hessert hadn't really locked the car down or stopped it from moving, and the 48 just didn't have anywhere to go.
We saw that Zaxby's Ford, the 09 of John West Townley. He's involved in this incident. He actually cut a left rear tire down in practice. There's another look. You see, it looks like the 1 and the 11 certainly made contact. I don't know if the 1 came down a little bit or exactly what happened. There's Tom Hessert. He's gonna get nailed here by the 48 of J.R. Fitzpatrick. You see all that smoke right there. It's very, very difficult for the drivers to see as they come off turn number 4.
Well, and the sun's probably playing a little bit of heck with them right there too, if they come off sun in the eyes.
Look at the damage to the right side of Tom Hessert's race car.
Great view of all the safety stuff in the right side of those cars. A roll cage.
Steel cages are pretty nice, aren't they?
They are.
Over 7 cars involved in the first one. We'll be right back. Get fired up, NASCAR fans. Speed is dueling at Daytona Thursday. The most exciting qualifying event in NASCAR can only be seen on Speed. The Gatorade Duel at Daytona. Be there for the 2 races that set the field for the Daytona 500. Don't miss the Gatorade Duel at Daytona, live Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's right here on Speed.
We talked about pit road being closed, but just a few moments ago, the last time Bobby Gerhart comes down pit road, you see that right front tire flat. That's why Bobby made his way down pit road. He will have to restart this race from the tail end of the longest line. But remember, this is one of the cars talked about stopping anytime after lap number 10. So he may call this good.
Yeah, he came in on lap 17, I believe it was, with a few more yellow flag laps. This could be his only pit stop. They elected to go ahead and put 4 tires on it, so he's ready to go the distance, I believe.
Our Aaron's lucky dog, because of the caution that came out, will be given to the 84 of Norm Benning. So he receives the Aaron's lucky dog, gets his lap back, will be on the lead lap.
I know Michael would be happy that Aaron's is giving away stuff again.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Always thankful. I think all the drivers are thankful that they get something.
Well, Norm certainly is right now.
And it's weird, you know, there's Norm and the 5 car going to the back of the pack, and they were the 2 that had the little incident earlier.
That's right.
Now, as far as strategy goes, would you bring the whole field down when they open up pit road?
Well,
if you were the crew chief, would you bring everybody down? I mean, would you bring your driver down?
I think it would. There's been probably so much debris on the racetrack from that incident. I think I would bring the guys down pit road, put four tires on them, Kenny, just to make sure that they didn't run over any debris, if nothing else.
They're out there blowing the track now. So coming in now and putting 4 tires on and then go back out knowing the track's clean, I think that'd be a good call myself. Plus, with a few more yellows, you could possibly make it from here.
Stretch it to the remainder of the race.
We know Frank Kimmel would like to get on pit road. That's Frank right there in the Ansel Menards Ford, because we saw the contact he had earlier and saw actually the smoke from a tire rub. So his guys need to take a look at that and maybe have to beat out a fender a little bit.
See who chooses to come down. Looks like Lofton and a few of the drivers up front are going to stay out. And while they do that, looks like the 52 of Bill Baird has decided to make his way onto pit road.
That's Schrader Racing's development driver. He'll be 60 this summer.
Let's go down to pit road and Wendy.
Last year's Daytona winner Michael Annett has some damage on his race car. He got into the 4 of Ken Weaver. They didn't think they were going to be able to make it much longer without coming in to fix that. They're also going to make some adjustments. Crew chief Mike Abner is taking advantage of this caution. He says if it keeps going this way, this is going to be our very last stop of the race. They're adding 1 inch of tape on the left side of the grill to get that water temp up to help it turn a little bit better. They're also taking a pound out of left side tires. This is definitely the last stop for Michael Annett, is what the crew chief has just called. Jim?
Frank Kimmel came in and down and away in his Menards Ansel Ford, and this may be his only stop. They took on 4 tires, very deliberate and methodical pit stop. Last year, Frank Kimmel drove a car that was not that good to a 5th place finish. He had to start well in the back. He started mid-pack today. If everything plays right, this may indeed be the winning move for him in his first ever Daytona victory. Kimmel again, just 4 tires, no adjustments, down and away.
They see on the top of your screen 20 of 80 laps. We talked about the pit window being from 50 to 60, so we're on the outside of everybody being able to make it if we stay green. We'll be right back.
They don't use any tires, they're too expensive.
Starting in the 2005 season, the ARCA REMAX Series made a big rule change in the efforts of cutting costs and longer engine life. It's the Mallory ignition box. Each and every car has to carry a pair of Mallory ignition boxes on their dashboard, and since 2005, there's been 0 failures. That's over 500,000 laps, 600,000 miles of ARCA REMAX Series competition. No failures whatsoever. It really helps these teams cut costs, and it has closed up the competition. In 2006, for example, there were 17 different race winners, an all-time record. The year after, 15 race winners. So indeed, no failures, closer competition. These Mallory ignition boxes are certainly what these teams need to cut costs and improve the competition here in this series.
And you know, the thing I like is those ignition boxes restrict these engines to 88 RPM. When you get up over 9,000 RPMs, that costs a lot of money, Kenny.
That's where the money comes in. When Mallory came in with that program and ARCA instituted that, that has really been good for the series.
See Bobby Gerhart making his way back onto pit road. And let's go back in and find out what's going on with that car.
Nicky, I'm good on the 15. 5.
The 5 car of Bobby Gerhart back on pit road for a second time during this caution. He did get a flat tire the last time. Ken Schrader, you were talking about that debris. Bobby Gerhart got some of it. He had to come down, get some tires. They made a track bar adjustment as well. And now another strategy by crew chief Billy Gerhart. They just topped off before we go back green. They too are trying to go the rest of the way.
Tim George Jr. also bringing his Ruby Tuesday Toyota down onto pit road.
Great move by Billy Gerhart to bring Bobby back in. He's going to have to restart from the tail end of the longest line anyway. Why not go get every ounce of fuel in? And you notice, Kenny, they jacked the left side up because of the fuel filler being on the left side. You can actually pack a little more fuel in when it's jacked up on the left side.
Yeah, they were getting every ounce in they can, and what are they? They're 59 laps to go, so they've got a good shot. Especially, we're not green yet.
Well,
Friday, the top 12 cars stayed out. Sorry about that, Rick.
That's all right. 12 cars stayed out, as you mentioned. Friday, the sparks will fly as the Camping World Truck Series returns to speed. It's the perfect storm of side-by-side racing action on the high banks of Daytona. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series racing the way it ought to be. Live from Daytona Friday, 7:30 Eastern. Only right here on Speed.
And if they're not 3 wide coming down for the checker flag, I'm going to be disappointed.
They have been every year. That's been a phenomenal race.
It is impressive. We hope to have a similar finish here in the ARCA REMAX Series as we're getting ready to get the green flag once again. And we had our first caution of the day coming out on lap 14, and we are back underway.
We know all these cars up front now. Actually, the top 11 cars will have to come down pit road. The guys behind them, not necessarily.
Can't pass to the inside on the restart. We saw Nur Ali move to the outside in that number 45, trying to get a run.
But Justin Lofton has done a nice job since the drop of the green flag here, maintaining that front spot. Allie Owens doing a terrific job right in his tire tracks. And then you've got a couple guys, a couple teammates, Joey Logano in third and Brian Scott in fourth, that have been very, very patient and stayed in line.
How tough of a decision do you think that was to leave them out there, those 12 that stayed on the racetrack? Not tough, or I mean, what is the possibility of us going another 20 or 30 laps under green flag conditions?
Well, that's very much a possibility. We saw the first 15, 16 laps of the race run under green conditions. So right now, we get about 10 more laps into this thing, and some of those guys may be starting, those crew chiefs may be starting to bite their fingernails down there.
A little perspiration going on with some of the decisions that are being made.
Those crew chiefs, they look over the history of the race, and I mean, they go over so many years. You never know what's going to happen that day, but they've got a pretty good idea. They're not just rolling the dice that big.
And we saw Gerhardt make it onto pit road a few times, and then on the restart, it looks like he had some problems. Take a look here.
See Bobby right there. Looks like he bounced off the outside.
Yeah.
Well, just a touch. Reason he's back there is because he came down pit road early, was penalized, had to restart from the tail end of the longest line. But we know he has a fast race car. And right now he may elect just to ride back there, Kenny, and try to save a little fuel. He knows those cars up front are going to have to stop.
I definitely can be agreeing with you there, Phil, but he's probably riding a little farther back than he wants to be.
I do not know if that looked like Allie Owens, if she knew that Brian Scott was down there. She came down hard and made Brian Scott move onto the inside on the apron of the racetrack, and now Allie Owens getting kicked out to the outside, and the freight train's moving by her on the inside.
Yeah, she lost that second spot to Joey Logano, and I think you're right. I don't think she didn't realize that Brian Scott was down there. Tried to get back in line, and Brian was there, and she shoved him down below the double yellow line. But again, he did not advance his position, so he did not get a penalty. Watch that. You see Joey Logano, the orange car, has already taken him to the spot. She tries to get in line behind him and didn't quite have Brian Scott cleared. Great news. There's some asphalt down there. Yeah, another view there right of your screen.
Great driving by Brian Scott too to keep that thing pointing in the right direction.
That could have been big, guys.
Yeah, it definitely could have. Now they line up again on the inside. We've got two distinct lines coming down the backstretch.
That's Matt Carter, the Stein seat for it on the outside, leading that pack.
Jim, how's Ryan Fisher doing? Hey, Jim, how's Ryan Fisher doing?
Well, guys, if he's like a cat, he certainly has a lot of friends because he spun last night in practice, didn't hit anything. He just came down pit road under the most recent caution with a flat right rear tire. They changed both right sides, but what a lucky break for that young man. Qualifying in the top 15, plans a full year running for Veterini Motorsports in the ARCA REMAX Series, but luck on his side again today as it was last night. They changed the tire under caution. No damage. He's now currently back in 28th and on the move.
See that field again lined up, going down right up against the yellow line. And where did Allie Owens get shoved back to? Well, just the fifth, so not so bad for Allie Owens.
Will Kimmel had a big time wiggle there. That 68 car. Will was really loose, slides up the racetrack. You see him fighting the steering wheel. Now he's caught in the middle of a 3-wide situation. Michael Annett going by the 0-1 on the inside. This is Frank Kimmel, Will's uncle right here, and that's 44 Ansel Menard's Ford.
He might have clipped the left front on the flat just a little bit there.
Look at that field come down the backstretch.
Okay, I want to talk about that guy running in the 4th spot right there. That's Mikey Kyle in the 29 car. That car is owned by Brad Kozlowski. Mikey, very young, very inexperienced. You see the Grease Lightning on board. They're running 4th right now, right behind Brian Scott, doing a terrific job.
So the field lining up still behind Justin Lofton. Again, the top 12 did not come onto pit road when we had our first and only caution of the day around lap 14. And so we'll see how long we go under green flag conditions. And will those crew chiefs start biting their nails as to will a caution come out, or will they have to make a green flag pit stop at Daytona? Welcome back. It might be the kiss of death for us to go to caution break, or to break, because a caution comes out, a big one once again at Daytona in the ARCA REMAX Series. That's Michael Annett in the 0-1. He won't make it 3 out of 4 at the super speedways this season. Big accident between he and Allie Owens. They got tied up, and then the domino effect happen after that.
It just looked like they wouldn't stop. The wreck never would stop happening, and then we collected a number of other cars. You see what a tough break for Michael and Tori and Kenny. Unfortunately, that's your Chevrolet with Bill Baird driving going to the garage.
Yep, he was spinning and got hit right at the very end.
Bill Baird makes his way into the garage. You see the 16 involved. Quite a few different cars involved.
There's Joey Coulter. That's Benny in the 16. Benny Chastain in the 75. Bob Shack's car.
Joey Coulter is a teammate to Bobby Gerhart at this racetrack. There's Allie Owens in that 19, the electrifyingcareers.com. See the helmet off and the safety crews down there attending to her.
See her moving around inside the car. She took her helmet off. There's the 20 of Steve Arpin. He makes some pretty hard contact with the inside wall, looks like.
Again, this happened. It really started in the middle of 3 and 4, but then it continued on down all the way out of turn number 4. We see Ken Weaver with some damage. Let's take another look.
That's Eddie Mercer, the 51. He may make contact. Looks like they almost got tied up. It looked like he didn't make contact initially, and it maybe got Allie out of the throttle a little bit, Kenny.
Yeah, it was real close. I mean, whether he did or not, but they just kept wrecking. You can see the sun there too isn't helping them at all.
Yeah.
You see Bill Baird sliding, but there was no contact for Bill Baird until later on here.
And then the 99 made contact with the 44 Frank Kimmel. Allie spins back up into the racetrack. Steve Arpin runs into her.
Now one of the cars trying to continue.
And Benny Chastain in the 75. He actually bounces off 2 other cars and then hits the 45 as well. So looks like Benny got 3.
So again, quite a few cars involved. Let's ride along.
That's Frank right behind his nephew Will. Frank got hit. You could hear him get hit and turn him around. Looked like Will must have gotten through it without any incident. This is Matt Carter's on board the Stein Seed Ford. You see the spin right from Matt goes to the bottom of the racetrack, does a nice job running down the apron now. See Frank spinning behind him. Matt almost gets collected by the 45 car of Nur Ali.
13 cars in total involved in this one.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, there's the 19 of Allie Owens getting hit by Steve Arpin, and then that may have been the 30 of Terry Jones right behind the 20 of Steve Arpin. Steve slides into the infield wall there. There's another view. There's Bill sliding up the racetrack. Doesn't appear to have that much damage right now, but I think he's going to get collected here. There's Nur Ali, the 45, against the outside wall. There's a 16 going to hit Nur, as well as a 75 of Benny Chastain.
And they're still wrecking behind him.
Watch the 51 of Eddie Mercer now. They were very, very close. He may have just touched the back of Allie Owens. Eddie's able to get by, but Allie spins up. Really nothing she could do at this point. Slides across the racetrack. You can see the glare from the sun. And as you've mentioned a couple times, that didn't help that situation.
No, it's hard to. You take that glare of the sun and then put a little smoke with it. You don't know what you're going into.
And maybe a little something on the windshield. I mean, they've been running quite a few laps and they haven't cleaned those off. So that also magnifies the situation.
Well, it's just easy to wreck here when these cars are running this fast, this close together. We see it in the Sprint Cup races, truck races, nationwide, or ARCA.
Maybe a smart call to leave Justin Lofton out in front of this field. He was not collected and remains our leader. We'll be right back. Speed's coverage of the Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 is presented by Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil Slick Mist, a fast and easy speed wax. Brought to you in part by Old Spice Swagger, the scent that makes a difference. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Well, we want to welcome into our booth the 2008 champion of the ARCA Remax Series. Justin Allgaier joins us now. You know, let's take a peek back at how you won that championship. We look back to the final race of the 2008 season at Toledo.
And the guys 1 and 2 in the points coming into this race. The 2 of Scott Speed, the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse, they get together. Scott has to spend an extended amount of time behind the wall. When he comes back on the racetrack, he returns the favor and takes out the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse.
So those two guys, the top two in points, have now eliminated each other. And that moves Justin Allgaier up, who was third coming into that race and went on to win that race and then hoist the trophy at the end of the year. Congratulations.
Thank you. It never gets old hearing the name champion given out, with the name. But if you notice in both of those videos there, I was right behind it each time.
Yeah.
It made it a little nervous, made me a little nervous there because I wasn't ready to get crashed. I wanted to, finish that race.
Great news for you this year. You're going to run a full schedule in the Nationwide Series for Penske Racing.
Yeah, we got Verizon Wireless came on board. We're going to sponsor the number 12 Verizon Wireless Dodge for Penske Racing, like you said, and it's a great opportunity for me. Progressing up from the ARCA series, I've been able to learn a lot here and race with a lot of really talented race car drivers. So hopefully we can use the experience and go into the 2009 season and have as good a season here as we did last year in the ARCA series.
That would be a great season.
That would be a great season. Yeah,
that would be a great season.
Yeah, let's just start that over.
6 wins, I think, last year, wasn't it?
6 wins, yeah, and actually the end of them were on TV, so we got rid of the little curse.
Exactly.
So
you thought that because Phil and I were at the racetrack, you couldn't win, so I didn't think that was...
It was Pocono. That was the changing moment. That was it.
What an opportunity to get to run on the Nationwide Series full-time, but to get hired by Mr. Penske. Wow.
Roger is an unbelievable boss, and I'm very blessed to be where I'm at, and to have a company like Verizon Wireless step up to sponsor our car. I mean, for a young kid from the Midwest, this is a dream come true for me, and I hope we can make the most of it.
Yeah, from an old guy from the Midwest, it'd be a dream come true. Let me tell you.
Well, and as we see Bobby Gerhart once again on pit road, looks like they're looking under the right side of that car. They didn't take the right front tire off, but they were looking under maybe at suspension or something down there on the right side.
I'm not sure what's happening down there. Obviously we saw him with a flat tire a few laps ago before the previous caution flag, so there's possibility that maybe that flat tire may have ground off the sway bar arm link or something like that. So undoubtedly Bobby's probably complained to his brother Bill that the thing's not driving that well.
Well, right now, Eddie Sharp Racing, I think Justin Lofton's about to come down pit road, and with that 5 pretty much in the way, that could affect their pit stop. And pit road is now open.
Believe me, that 5 car does not want to be there when that car comes down pit road, because that means he will be lapped. So I'm sure they will button that up prior to the pace car getting to the end of pit road and send him back out.
Again, the field with the pit road being open now, we should see the guys that stayed out earlier on pit road, and sure enough, the line starts onto pit road. Let's go down to Jim Trado, who will be covering what takes place on pit road.
Well, Joey Logano will have an open pit box behind him after qualifying third. He had the choice of picking a pit stall with a spot behind him. Billy Venturini on the box. The entire Joe Gibbs Racing crew for the Cup team is over the pit wall. They're going to change 4 tires. Joey Logano overshoots his pit now. He's backing up again very hard on the brakes here. They don't use a lot of brakes, so he took a while to slow down. They're going to do a slight chassis adjustment on the right rear, 1 round in, and they're getting the right side's off. A slower stop than expected for Logano. Wendy?
Brian Scott is in for 4 tires, air pressure adjustment. Crew chief Ken Rucker said he's going to look at that right front tire when it comes off to see if they have to stop again. He has been a little tight. Justin Lofton also passing his pit when he stopped on pit road. They had to back it up. Fortunately, Bobby Gerhart had gotten out of the way. Justin Lofton really turning the wheels through the corner, also a little bit tight. His crew chief, Mark Rett, had radio communications most of this race. They said, Justin, if you win this race, we promise we'll buy new radios.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
Need new brakes right now.
He's going to need a lot more now, because they did not win the race off of pit road. And so Justin Lofton is no longer the leader of our race here at Daytona International Speedway. We'll be right back. Supercars Exposed returns to speed on February 16th with all new episodes. Drift champion Tanner Faust takes you to the fast lane of the world's most exotic super fast cars. Catch the season premiere of Supercars Exposed with Tanner Faust, February 16th, exclusively on Speed. Drift champion. I think he was part of that Tokyo Drift. I think he was part of that.
Yeah, I think so.
That drifting. That's pretty cool. I like to keep my car going straight.
Big goings on with this 25 car right here, this Home Depot car. You can see the ARCA Remax officials down there talking to the crew. Joey Logano when he came down pit road for his pit stop. We saw him overshoot his pit stop. Then he had to back up, and we're getting a report that he had a man over the wall without a helmet, which is a no-no. Watch the very back of the car here. You're gonna see a guy reach across the wall and knock a tire down and grab a tire.
There he came out.
Right there. And he absolutely came across pit wall, and that is a no. He actually didn't come across pit wall because the opening was behind the car, but he was definitely on pit road, and that will necessitate a 1-lap penalty for Joey Logano in that 25 car. And you can see the ARCA Remax officials right now holding that car on pit road as the field goes by.
They don't have an argument there.
No.
No, he was over the wall.
And we saw, I mean, J.D. Gibbs is down there, president of Joe Gibbs Racing. He was down there arguing. Well, not really arguing, but obviously trying to get his point across that they weren't sure what had taken place. But as we just saw, not only was it a man over without a helmet, but it would also have been the 8th man. I mean, he would have had an extra person that was actually in that pit stall.
Now, I think this is getting worse for him because they're coming to green.
Oh,
you can see J.D. Gibbs right there. That's talking to Joey's dad right there. That's J.D., the owner of the Cup car that Joey's going to drive here for Home Depot, Joe Gibbs Racing.
Aaron's lucky dog will go to the 09 of John West Townley. The 19-year-old gets a lap back, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Daytona Beach, Florida. These beautiful views coming to you from DirecTV. Today's aerial coverage is being brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you have got to get DirecTV. Lights are off on the pace car. He'll make a hard left turn onto pit road, and then the field will get back underway as the green flag will come back out. You see on the inside of that second row the Home Depot number 25 of Joey Logano. Mario Gosselin just in front of him in the 12, and the green flag's back in the air.
Yeah, Mario is 2 laps down, so Joey Logano is the first car 1 lap down in the event the caution flag comes out again. But meanwhile, James Busher is leading this thing, that 32 car.
James Busher out in front in the number 32. Again, the 12 of Mario Gosselin is 2 laps down to the field, so that's not a battle for the lead of this race. Matter of fact, he's got 2 lap down cars that are giving him a little bit of grief, I'm guessing, at this point. James Busher would probably like to get to the bottom of the racetrack.
Eddie Mercer, that 51 car right there, the Mikusuki Chevrolet out of James Finch's stable, is actually the 2nd place car. And here comes Mikey Kyle on the inside, that 29 car. He's going to use the inside of the racetrack to get by Eddie Mercer.
Mikey Kyle's been strong already today. We saw him running in the top 5 early on in this one.
We've whittled that pack right down now, haven't we?
At the halfway point.
Yes.
40 laps of racing to go. We ride along with Patrick Sheltra.
Matt Carter right in front of him, the 46 car. Matt wiggles a little bit, chases it up the racetrack. Patrick's running in the 5th spot. See him pedal the throttle a little bit. He actually had a little bit of a run on Matt Carter, decided to stay behind Matt. Obviously Matt against the double yellow line, so Patrick really couldn't go down there, although people are sneaking down there a little bit.
Wow. Cars are moving around quite a bit.
Things are heating up already.
Whoa.
Another problem in turns 3 and 4. The 51. Oh, that's Mercer. Eddie Mercer involved in it. The 29.
Matt Carter, Mikey Kyle also involved.
Ryan Fisher in that 50. Oh, no. And then the 28 runs right into the back of them. Chris Cockrum.
99, John Ferrier also involved. You see the 8, Brian Scott, Allie.
Gabby DiCarlo
in the 90. Yeah, in the Great Clips car.
You know, that started right up front.
Sure did. As you were talking, Kenny, it doesn't matter where you are. You can get caught up in something here. You don't have to be at the back of the pack.
We're getting down to a lot of all the cars bitten out of this thing. We're going to have a short field at the end of the race here.
A lot of attrition right now taking place on the racetrack. Ryan Fisher trying to fire that car back up again.
He is able to. You can see the back of that car though, and is down. The fuel cell rack is actually on the ground. That's why the left rear tire was spinning. See a lot of damage to Eddie Mercer's car right there. Eddie was running up in the top 2 or 3, and there's Mario Gosselin. Mario was 2 laps down. Obviously a tremendous amount of damage to his car.
And we see that when the window net's down, obviously that's the signal to the safety crews that the driver has put that down and he's okay. So if they need to attend to someone else quicker, they can. We see Brian Scott climbing out of his race car.
Yeah, Mikey Kyle also going by. Mikey had a great run going, as well as Brian Scott. Let's see if we can take a look back at what happened here. See, there's Mario Gosselin. Mikey Kyle kind of chases up the hill and runs into Mario Gosselin. That's what starts as Matt Carter with nowhere to go, as well as Eddie Mercer. Patrick Shelter does a nice job getting through that.
Steve Blackburn, or excuse me, Parker
Kligerman
was involved in that in the 77.
He didn't get. Yeah, you see the damage on the left front of that's the black car back on the grass down there. Here's another view. Going to see Mario Gosselin. He's going to run and going to move up the hill. Then Mikey Kyle kind of, the air just, I think, takes him up the hill and he makes contact with him, Kenny.
Yeah, but it winds up the same thing. You just plain old run into him. You know, you can give it a bunch of reasons why, but you kind of got to be responsible for the front of your car.
I think the 6 of Lofton actually got into that as well. He brushed somebody that was coming back down the racetrack, it looked like, too, so maybe some damage on his car.
Bobby Gerhardt able to get by on the outside, and then we saw Chris Cockrum, the 28, come in late and make contact. There's another view. There is the contact between Mikey Kyle, the 29, Mario Gosselin, the 11. Matt Carter gets caught by Mario Gosselin, goes up the hill towards the outside wall. Eddie Mercer comes along with nowhere to go. There's the 6 of Justin Lofton. He makes a little bit of contact with the 29 of Mikey Kyle. There's Will Kimmel, the 68. He makes some contact as well.
Tough day for the Kimmels. We saw Frank Kimmel early on out of this. You see Chris Cockrum staying right on the back bumper of Bobby Gerhardt. Looks like Gerhardt's trying to slow down, but he's got Cockrum right behind him. And as Gerhardt goes high, Cockrum goes low and right into 2 cars parked on the racetrack.
Yeah, well, Chris Cockrum would have done well to have heated the Bobby Gerhardt's trying to slow down there.
Yeah.
There's another view. Matt Carter makes hard contact with the outside wall.
And there's that smoke and the sun. The difficult views that these guys have.
81, Craig Gose coming in on the inside. There's Ryan Fisher's on board. You see Gabby DiCarlo. Gabby's going to get caught up in this as well. There's the contact between Ryan Fisher and Gabby DiCarlo. Another shot to Ryan Fisher's car, the baby mum car. Ooh, and yet another one.
I think I'll grab the steering wheel back again.
That's when you don't take your helmet off and you don't get your seatbelt unstrapped.
Watch Patrick Schitter. He's going to get through this now. Watch this.
Oh, how close.
He gassed it back up to shoot that gap. He did really good. He got off where he needed to and then gassed it back up. But you can see where that sun is factoring in there.
Not much of a view at all for any of these guys.
Ooh. There went our camera.
Yeah, Eddie Mercer took care of that camera in the back of Matt Carter's Stein C car. There's Matt's roof camera.
And again, Matt Carter hit that wall hard.
Sure did.
Just goes to show you what one big mistake really will do at a race like this.
So many people get caught up in it and just coming along innocently and unfortunately wrong place at the wrong time.
That's why they make you put a helmet on when you get in these things. You just never know what's going to happen.
The second caution of the day happened on lap 30 and it involved 13 cars. Now our third caution happens at lap 40 and it involves 12 cars. So we talk about attrition. We're losing a lot of the field here very quickly as the sun is still setting in Central Florida. And we are definitely having trouble seeing when they have problems in turn number 4. We'll be right back with more from Daytona.
Look at Hornaday. Oh, Hornaday. Look at all the cars with nowhere to go.
Sellers up into Logano. Pushes him into the wall. Kovaluk gets the lead.
Logano's going to have one more corner to do something with Sellers.
He's really going to have to send it in. And he does. On the bottom. Sweeps up. Hits Sellers. Slam in the wall. Here comes Kovaluk. Logano makes it first to the flag. Joey Logano has been penalized for rough riding. Matt Kovaluk has won the Toyota All-Star Showdown for the second time.
I think Mike Joy put it perfectly when he said Joey Logano makes it to the finish line first. He didn't say he won the race, but he said he makes it to the finish line first.
They actually gave Joey the 40th position. They put him all the way back to the back of the pack. And truthfully, Matt Koboluk became the first two-time winner. He actually never led a lap. But when they penalized Joey Logano,
how do you do that? I bet he doesn't matter.
I mean, Matt the win, and obviously they got credit for leading the last lap because of the penalty to Joey.
And Matt was in a backup car.
He was in a backup car because he cut down the right front tire in practice and ruined his primary car.
Now remember, the 8th man and the man without a helmet came over the wall and put Joey Logano a lap down. Well, Aaron's is giving him that lap back. The Aaron's lucky dog goes to the 25 of Joey Logano.
Well,
Jim?
And they're counting their blessings in the Joey Logano pit. They were talking about how excited they were to be calm. If that makes any sense. They're like, don't get excited. Stay calm, Joey. We're going to get that lucky dog back. We're going to win this thing. And indeed, they are now saying we could have been right in the middle of that had we not had the lucky dog or been penalized that lap. So they think there's 3 or 4 cars yet to race, and they think they have the chance to win this thing.
And I think we're only going to have about 13 cars on the lead lap when they get ready to go back to green here. There's 12 cars right now. When then Joey gets the Aaron's lucky dog, then there will be 13 cars on the lead lap.
Well, he more than likely would have been involved in that because he was right there and it took out most all of his front cars.
Yep. And you mentioned 13 cars on the lead lap. We've got a few cars that are making repairs and trying to get back out on the racetrack. And one guy who's not going to be back out on the racetrack, Brian Scott, is with Jim.
Well, he's out of the care center, which means I think you're all right. Well, how crazy was it out there today, Brian?
Well, when stuff happens at Daytona, it happens quick. And just trying to figure out how to get around the lap car of Mario Gosselin. And everybody was kind of shuffling high and low. And we went into 3 and 4. And next thing I know, I saw Mario Gosselin up high, and I just moved to the bottom line. So, you know, I thought everything was going to be good. I thought the bottom line was going to work. And next thing I know, I saw him sideways, and everybody started bunching. And I started trying to figure out how I was going to get through it. And I was kind of hoping Mario Gosselin would stay going down the track, and he kind of came up, clipped me the first time, and I spun around and hit a couple more cars. And luckily, they're all just quarter panel, glancing, fender type hits. I didn't hit a wall, didn't hit anything straight. I'm fine. It's just it's a real shame. Our Albertson's Toyota Camry is running really good. Everybody put a lot of work in through the offseason. That car was built in a really quick time, and whole team really did good. We had a great pit stop. My hat's off to all those guys, and I just hated it had to end like this.
With 3-car effort for Ben Reedy Motorsports, 2 horses are still out there. What are your thoughts about how strong their cars are compared to what you had in December testing till now?
Well, I know Joey Logano had a great car. We were able to work with him through the first half. We got disconnected there through the pit stops and his penalty and everything, but I knew that we both still had a good enough car and a good enough shot, even, you know, in the middle of the pack, shuffled back from strategy and everything, that we were going to be all right. But I don't know what the status of the other cars is. I saw the 15 wrecked. I don't know if Joey's still out there, but he's got a good enough car to win this if he's all right.
Indeed, that's the thought in his pit as well. Wendy?
Justin Lofton, currently running 3rd right now, does have some damage on that right front fender. They asked him if he thought he slid the tires at all, and he told his crew chief Mark Rett, no, I didn't even have time to let off the gas and get on the brake. No sliding the tires, but he did get some damage on that right front fender, so they will watch it, but they have decided to stay out. The theory, 17 cars on the lead lap. He's running 3rd right now. They don't want to get in the back of the pack just in case that happens again.
So again, Justin Lofton leading quite a few laps to start off this race. Phil, was that you earlier today?
It was not.
That was not you?
It's actually our Fox coordinator's brother.
Oh, how about that? We'll be right back. Speed's coverage of the Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 is brought to you by Ansell Protective Products. For over 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. By ARCA Nation, get in, get on, ARCARacing.com. And by Aaron's. Nobody beats Aaron's. Nobody. While we're still under our 3rd caution of the day, let's get you caught up on what has taken place to this point. We take a look at our Old Spice race recap. Starting up front, it was Justin Lofton and Allie Owens making up row number 1.
They continue to run single file. We run about the first 15 laps under green, then Peyton Sellers spins. And while this is going on, top left of your screen, you saw the smoke. This is what happened. The 1 of Tom Hessert and the 11 of Brian Silas get together, block the racetrack coming off turn number 4.
And as you mentioned, so difficult to see coming out of 4 because of the sun and the smoke.
First shot of Allie Owens. Had a little contact with Eddie Mercer. That turned her around in the middle of the pack, and a lot of cars involved in this incident as well.
That's our second caution of the day. That happened around lap 30.
Not quite over yet.
Vinny Chastain comes along the 75 car, makes contact with Peyton Sellers, and then the 16, and also the 45.
While they were under caution, Joey Logano brings the 25 Home Depot onto pit road, and one of their pit crew members came around the wall but went into that pit stall, and so they were penalized.
Yeah, we saw him reach over bottom of your screen just a moment ago. That put Joey a lap down, and there's this most recent caution flag when there's contact with Mario Goslin and Mikey Kyle, and that tears up a bunch of good race cars.
So this is our third caution of the day, came out on lap 40. Jim Trado.
And two strong runs in early as they're reviewing the video with us. Matt Carter, we'll start with you. It looks like you're all right, but that race car doesn't look to be.
Yeah, I'm fine. The race car looks like it was junk, but I'm okay. Thankfully got the opportunity to come down here and race, and it takes a lot of luck to get through one of these ARCA races. Everybody knows that follows this stuff. When you come to Daytona, a lot of people watching for the wrecks, and they're getting a lot of that today. So hopefully everybody else was okay too, and hopefully we'll get to run the rest of the year and be in Salem here in a few months.
Matt Carter again ran third in points last year and winning the rookie honors, trying to get a full schedule together. Already confirmed full schedule, Ryan Fisher, but this is not the way you wanted to start this season.
No, we wanted to. We're going to try and get the car back out there. We'll see what happens. We're running for points, so run for the rookie of the year deal. Just got caught up in the big one. Didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go, and spotter saying hi, I went high and just got tagged, and that was the end of it. Almost went over, I think. I don't even know. And yeah, hopefully we'll be back out there, and we'll see you guys in Salem.
He escaped a flat tire in practice, a flat tire under green, and unfortunately didn't get a third chance to escape injury or harm here with his race car. He's okay though, guys.
As we continue to look at the incident there, the rule is if you get out of the car, you have to go to the infield care center. He made the comment, we're going to try to get back out there. That's why he had to go to the care center, but he'll go try to climb back in that car and get back on the racetrack. We'll be right back. Is coming, and the only place to see it is on Speed. Join Bill Goldberg as he takes 12 teams on the ultimate high-stakes trip. These teams might make it through the desert in one piece, but they'll need to make it through all of his challenges to collect $200 grand in cash and prizes. Bull Run with Bill Goldberg premieres Thursday, February 19th, exclusively on Speed. Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Slick Miss 200 from Daytona International Speedway. Attrition has taken its toll on quite a few race cars, but the green flag back out, and we're back underway. James Busher out in front of the field in that number 32.
And remember, James Busher was penalized and actually started from the rear of the field, so he's gone from the back to the front. You see Frank Kimmel jumps to the outside, going to try to lead a pack.
See some damage still to some of those race cars, some sheet metal hanging on.
Remember, 13 cars right now on the lead lap, and Joey Logano is the one that got the Aaron's lucky dog, so he is on the lead lap right now, running behind that 4 of Ken Weaver.
Quite a few cars working their way around this racetrack. Justin, do you miss it? I mean, I know we've only talked to you sparingly here, but being up in the booth maybe a little better today than being on the track.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm up here today, that's for sure. But you know, I do miss the ARCA series, the REMAX series here. It was a great building block, and unfortunately today it's not gone the way that everybody had hoped, but it's a great series, and I hope that somebody up there in the front can get a win for the first time. That'd be really cool to see that today.
Well, your story is definitely inspirational. Your family-owned team battling all year long and winning it in the final race of the year was really cool, getting 6 wins last season in the ARCA REMAX series. We know that obviously now being in the Nationwide series with the Penske organization, your time is very valuable, so thank you for joining us up here.
Hey, thank you guys for having me up here. This has been great, and I think we got another wreck right here.
Oh, another one.
Never mind, I'm not leaving yet, right?
Into the wall he goes. That's the 39 of Michael Phelps. We saw some damage to his car earlier, and now more. That will, it looks like, end the day for Michael Phelps.
Yeah, Michael was actually the first car running 1 lap down, so we'll have to see if at the time of the caution flag whether he was being considered the front car, and then that would mean no Aaron's lucky dog, but a lot of damage to that 39 car.
He's going to try to drive it back into the garage, but quite a bit shorter than when he started the day.
That water running out of the bottom doesn't help either when you're trying to get back to the garage.
Take another look at this.
So that's Joey Logano on the inside in that 25 car. He just gets a little bit loose as Joey Logano goes by. John Westalley, the 09, was behind him. And he's going to slide, make the long slide. And it's so great that years ago they paved that whole area. A long time, Kenny, we were coming here and that was all grass. And
you're upside
all bets
down.
were off then.
Yeah, yeah. Now they did that number of years ago and just plain old got loose.
How tough would this be? Look how fast he's going straight backwards.
Yeah. He did a nice job of staying in the throttle to get that car down off the banking out of harm's way. And now he goes for the slide for life there. And you see the front tires locked up. So looks like he had the front wheels locked up and unfortunately still makes hard contact with the inside wall.
Yeah, that's not a good place to wreck either. You know, you're coming out of the corner there. You're trying to get straightened back up. And sometimes this place just feeds you for a loop and off you go, you know.
We didn't have safer barriers there until just a couple years ago too, so that's a good thing.
Have you ever hit there?
I don't know any place I haven't hit.
I've seen some pretty nasty wrecks of yours, but I don't know if you've ever hit there or not.
Kenny's autographed every inch of the wall he's ever hit.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Well, we see Michael Phelps climbing out of the race car. He will make his way to the infield care center, and I'm sure that they will take that car into the garage, and his day is now done. The Aaron's lucky dog will go to the 99 of John Ferrer. And so he will get his lap back. And we will be back for more racing here on Speed. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Slick Miss 200 for the ARCA REMAX Series, kicking off the 2009 season in style from Daytona International Speedway. We have had 3 cautions, and in those 3 cautions, we have had 29 different cars involved in accidents. So that means of the 43-car field, only 14 have not been involved in an accident.
That is incredible. And here's Ricky Carmichael right now back on the racetrack, the Monster Energy Chevrolet out of Kevin Harvick's stable. We saw Ricky involved early on in one of the early incidents, and Ricky's still back on the racetrack here, going to soldier on.
This race is important for him to get approval, I think, to run the Truck Series race, although I think he's already got it.
Well, we talk about Ricky Carmichael. February 21st, AMA Supercross is live on Speed. Don't miss a minute of the action as world champions James Stewart and Chad Reed get vertical in Atlanta. Live coverage begins February 21st, 7:30 Eastern, only on Speed. Jim Trado, I know you've got a Daytona Beach native that's probably not happy to be talking to you right now.
Not at all. She was hoping this conversation would happen after the race. Allie, good to see you're okay. Your car's a mess. How you? Any damages, any bruises on you?
Oh, no, you know, our car was great. The electrifyingcareers.com Toyota and Eddie DeHaan, the whole team, man, they gave me a rocket ship, and hope everybody got to see that. It was really awesome to be up there with Joey Logano and Justin Lofton and drafting, and I just learned so much out there, and, you know, we were hoping for that, you know, storybook finish and being able to bring it home for the hometown crowd, and Lady Luck, of course, wasn't on our side again today, and unfortunately our car's getting loaded up now and not going to be able to take the checker flag once again at Daytona.
Allie, we saw you on the backstretch make a drastic move to get in the drafting line. That was not the worries because you were in the lead pack at that point. What did happen that took you out of this race?
You know, sometimes people get too excited out there, and actually I learned a lot from Joey Logano. He did bump draft me quite a few times out there, and I learned how to hang on to the car, and unfortunately we got a huge bump going into turn 3 once I fell back a little bit, and that just, you know, as soon as you go into the turn here and you get a bump from behind, after that pretty much it's over from there, and I did the best I could to keep it off the wall, and it just felt like hit after hit after hit kept coming, and finally I think I got hit about 5 times and came to rest and knew that our day was over.
Glad to see you're okay, Allie. Guys?
Thanks, Jim. And again, Allie Owens from right here in Daytona Beach, Florida, started in the 2nd spot today in this race, but her day ends a little bit too early. Take a look at this beautiful looking bright yellow Menards Ford, driven by Frank Kimmel. That new sponsorship coming on board, allowing Kimmel Racing to take to the track once again in 2009.
Let's see if we can chat with Frank. Hey, Frank, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha, Phil.
We saw you have a little bit of damage from a couple of those earlier incidents, and you got enough stuff left to try to get that first win here?
We're really going to try. We're not fast enough, I don't think, to win, but I think we can get a couple more spots. I tell you what, this Ansel Gloves Menards car, if it's not fast, it's tough, and that's for sure.
We're down to just about 14 cars on the lead lap right now, and you've got some Ford help around you. You've got John West Townley right in front of you. And then behind you, really, it's all Toyotas and Dodges and Chevrolets.
I don't know if anybody's helping today. It's been pretty much a race of carnage. A lot of, as you can tell, a lot of stuff going on out here. These guys, I don't think patience is the middle word right now.
All right, buddy, I know you're getting ready for this restart. Bring that thing home in one piece.
Still appreciate it.
He seems awful calm for never winning at Daytona.
Well, he's won 9 championships, so he stays pretty calm most of the time, doesn't he?
Yes, yes. And, you know, if there's a path through those wrecks, he gets through them most of the time. But that's just a lot of experience.
Frank Kimmel's racing career, 370 starts, 9-time champion, as we've mentioned, and he's closing in on Iggy Daytona as far as the most wins in this series. He has 74, and Iggy, I think, is at 79. So he's about, is it 78 or 79? I think it's 79.
And you know, Iggy raced till he was in his 60s too, Kenny. I know we watched him race a lot through the years.
So the field coming back for the green flag. It's in the air. Let's try it again.
Patrick Shelter up there has been good and solid all day.
He has. He did a nice job avoiding the incidents we've had, and it looks like his car's pretty much in one piece.
On lap 56 of 80, only 24 laps remaining. Get out in front, James Busher, Patrick Shelter, Justin Lofton, Bobby Gerhart, Larry Hollenbeck are your top 5 as they work their way around this 2.5-mile super speedway.
There's Frank right there, his other Ford partner, John West Townley. Remember, John West is in a backup car where he cut down the left rear tire, lost his primary car.
Went right by Larry Hollenbeck in that 23. We saw Larry dropping back again. He was running in the top 5, but he slides back through the field now.
Bobby Gerhart is running right now in the 4th spot, and he's got the 25 of Joey Logano right behind him. We know that Joey's got a strong car, and we know that Bobby's always has strong cars here. Won this thing 5 times.
Won here 5 times, won once at Talladega. His 6 wins have all come at restrictor plate racetracks. Wendy.
If you notice, Bobby Gerhart can't quite suck up as much to Justin Lofton. I checked in with crew chief Billy Gerhart. They said they're not sure what the problem, whether it's carburetor call issue, but they do have some problems sucking up. You can see young Joey Logano, if he could just keep some patience under his belt, he is going to have to probably work his way around Bobby Gerhart, because Bobby Gerhart cannot suck up as easily in this draft.
I thought Joey Logano has really shown a lot of patience this race. We saw him, Kenny, his first ever ARCA race before he turned 18 years old was at Rockingham last year. He won that thing. I believe you finished second that race, didn't you?
Yeah, he won it for the Bill Venturini team. Did an excellent job. We see him get a run there, and it looks like he's going to be able to complete the pass on
He was obviously knew that Gerhart wasn't able to keep up, so it was just a matter of time before he had to go ahead and get by Gerhart and get up with those cars before they got away from him.
Looks like a few others have decided to get by Bobby Gerhart. We saw the 09 of John West Townley, and then we saw Frank Kimmel try to make the pass but wasn't able to complete it.
See the gap now behind John West Townley and Bobby Gerhart, so that's something that could be trouble for Frank Kimmel, and that's Ken Weaver, the 4 car right behind Frank Kimmel. Ken's done a nice job here running up in the top 10.
Sure has. Ken took a few years off from ARCA REMAX Series competition, but he has finished second at Nashville and Salem back in 2005. So that would be a big improvement for Ken if he could finish in the top 5 here at this racetrack.
Great crew chief Paul Andrews. Wendy talked about Paul Andrews being here on the top of the pit box for Ken Weaver. A lot of experience. Former Winston Cup champion with Alan Kowicki back in the 90s.
There you see the cycle of laps there for Ken Weaver, and starting 8th in this race. So he's got a good race car underneath him, and if he can keep his head about it, he looks to have a good finish here at Daytona.
They're definitely losing that front group a little bit.
Yeah, Frank's going to need to do something to get around Bobby Gerhart. As Wendy talked about, Bobby Gerhart not really having the strength that he normally does here, and he's not able to keep up with that pack. Got a great strong 4-car draft right there. Now John West Townley's falling about 3-4 car lengths behind those front 4 cars.
Patrick Shelter running Welcome back. We're under caution for the 5th time today, and this time it is Bobby Gerhart, 5-time winner of this race. Doesn't look like he's going to be making it 6. Again, just before we went to commercial break, we apologize. We had some audio issues. We believe those are fixed now, so we are going to see the safety crews attend to Bobby Gerhart. Take a look at what happened.
We saw Bobby slowing down there, not able to keep up with that pack, and look, his right front tire goes. You can see the debris fly and the rubber. Bobby makes pretty hard contact with the outside safer barrier, and then as he coasted down to the inside of the racetrack, somebody came by on the inside of him extremely fast.
Really close. Now remember, Bobby Gerhart had a fracture in his neck from Pocono
last year.
Yeah.
And so limited time in the race car. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, year before last.
Yep.
Right here is that car going by, Phil.
Bobby's coming by, just barely avoids Bobby, and that
was very close.
Looked like maybe the 23 is what that looked like. That might have been.
Larry Hollenbach had slowed a bit. He was dropping back, but that, again, the safety crews are working to get Bobby Gerhart out of that race car. Sure. Cautious pulling him out as we look back at what's taken place here after 63 of our 80 laps. James Buescher is out in front. Now, an interesting statistic, the last 4 races, the driver leading with 20 to go ends up winning the race.
Look at this sun we're getting ready to go into right here, and this is, you know, getting better than it was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's good now that's compared to what it was.
Behind the grandstands now, basically.
So 5 cautions, 32 laps of caution. Again, this is a 80-lap race, and we still have 17 to go.
Average speed down just a little bit there, 101 mile an hour. So, being the pace car runs 70, I guess. You know, you think about that 55 mile an hour pit road, which sounds so slow, but that's like standing beside your car on the interstate.
Yeah, the highway, yeah.
They're going by plenty fast.
Jim Trado.
You're having a Coca-Cola with Billy Venturini. A lot of discussion during this caution, Billy. You guys are back on the pylon, back on the lead lap with Joey Logano, your driver. What's been the discussion? I understand Justin Lofton's crew is awfully interested in working with you.
Well, I think the 6 and the 25 seem to be the 2 strongest cars. Unfortunately, the 8, which was supposed to be our partner, they got tore up, and they looked really strong too. But I'm hoping that Home Depot Toyota, our goal is to win the race for Joe Gibbs Racing, and hopefully we can do that. But the 6 has been strong, and then to run second to him wouldn't be, I guess there's no shame in that, but we come here to win. So we're going to do the best we can.
Now, in terms of the draft, you guys haven't figured out. Are you going to stay with them? Are you playing a little pool here, a little gamble with what you're telling the 6?
I think we'll probably end up working together, because we probably need each other a little bit right now, because we're running 3rd and 4th. We're not running 1st and 2nd. So, you know, maybe we might have to get up in that 1st and 2nd spot if we can. I mean, 32 strong, 2 and 60s had a solid run today. Maybe we get the 1st and 2nd, then have to figure it out from there. But we came here to win, and we're going to do what we can to try to do that.
Sounds like they'll work for a while, but maybe not for the Checkers, guys.
And remember, Justin Lofton won last year at Michigan.
There,
see Bobby Gerhart, that's a great shot right there. Bobby walking around, looking at his car and limping just a little bit. That was a pretty hard shot against that outside wall, Kenny.
Yes, it was. Hard hit.
Come from the bottom of the racetrack all the way up, cutting that right front tire and into the outside safer barrier. Obviously, technology has helped safety, but again, when you're going 190 miles an hour and you hit something, it's probably going to hurt. So we're under our 5th caution. Fans excited to see the checkered flags come out here for the ARCA REMAX Series. Speed's coverage of the Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 is presented by Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil Slick Mist, a fast and easy speed wax. By REMAX, outstanding agents, outstanding results. Brought to you in part by Toyota. For the latest on Toyota's drivers and racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. Again, immediately following the ARCA REMAX Series Slick Mist 200 will be race day, presented by Home Depot right here on Speed. So stick with us. And then that will be followed by the Bud Shootouts at 8 o'clock on Fox. But we've got to get this one resolved. James Buescher in front of the field. Patrick Shelter runs second. Justin Lofton is third. And Joey Logano in that Home Depot Toyota Camry is running fourth.
You take those first 4 cars, and I don't think there's a definite favorite in those first 4.
I don't think so either. Let's see if we can make contact with Joey Logano. Hey, Joey, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, I got you.
Joey, we just see the sun setting now behind the front grandstands. Is that has the sun been an issue in some of those incidents coming off turn 4?
It's hard to say. You know, I had some tape on my windshield. I just ripped it off, so yeah, I'm sure it didn't help. That's for sure.
You've got another Toyota in front of you with Justin Lofton, who's been strong. We talked to your crew chief Billy Venturini just a few moments ago that said you guys may work together, as well as James Buescher in another Toyota up front there in the 32. You have enough to get by those guys?
We'll see. I know the 6 car is really strong. I was running with him earlier on in the race, and we overcame our penalty, got back up here, so it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be exciting. We know that.
I know your goal here is to win this race and get some laps before you drive that Home Depot in the Sprint Cup Series here for the Daytona 500. Getting a lot of great experience out there.
Yeah, this is a real good experience. These cars are a lot different than the Cup cars, though, but just any laps around here and draft and stuff is it's going to help me a lot. I know I'm using a lot of stuff I learned from Talladega right now, so we'll see if we get this Home Depot Toyota in victory lane.
We've done a terrific job so far. Bring that thing home, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
And he finished second at Talladega, so he learned quite a bit at that racetrack. Jim Trado.
Well, I'm actually on the pit box of Ricky Carmichael's team, back on the racetrack, and really involved in this is his Truck Series owner, Kevin Harvick. And Kevin, I'm thinking you got a pretty vested interest in how Ricky does today, I would imagine.
Well, the biggest thing is he just needs to make laps. We're making pit stops and just trying to teach him all aspects of racing, and that was nothing of his fault. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and wound up getting wrecked. But all in all, he's done a great job. He did a good job at Talladega, and they had a tire blow there, and he's done a good job at both tests. So he'll be fine. He just, now he's learning what it's like after you tear one up. So it's going to be good, and it's all about finishing.
You last night, between your Cup practice sessions, went on top of that hauler and talked him through that last practice session. How have you seen his progression, and is he ready for this next step to run full-time in a NASCAR Major Division?
Well, I think he's ready. I think, there's going to be some bumps in the road for sure, just for the fact that he doesn't have a lot of experience on these types of racetracks. But there's only one way to get that, and that's to get on the racetrack. This has been a pretty interesting race today and torn a lot of stuff up, so I'm just glad that he wasn't the one that tore all the stuff up.
Indeed, and they're back out there getting those laps, trying to get that approval by NASCAR to run in the Camping World Truck Series, guys.
Would you call that an aero push that he might be having with that front end of that car?
His car's it's going to be a little tight. It's going to feel like it's a little draggy and not running quite like it did before. But temperature, as far as running cool, won't be a problem.
Front tires are going to be cool.
I wonder why CNR builds their radiators, puts their name on the radiators.
You always wondered why that was.
Yeah.
Because normally you don't see that, but obviously today.
Look at that stat there: 15 AMA championships,
150 race wins.
That's incredible.
We got the opportunity to work with him all last year, and he ran for us a couple weeks ago out there at Irwindale, and we just had a riot working with him. Man, he's just so focused and so serious about it. He'll do good.
Obviously, a difficult day for him, like Kevin Harvick mentioned. Not of his own making, but involved in an incident that did the damage to the front end of that race car. But for seat time, they put him back out there on the track as we are about to go back to green flag racing. And they're making their way around the racetrack, and we will get the green flag when they come back to the front stretch as they make their way down the back stretch now. But this is a situation now. We're down to the final. It'll be 11 laps. So we've got 11 laps to go. Can we make it 11 laps without a caution?
We hope so.
Yeah, I would think the only way we would have a caution would be if somebody cut a tire with debris or something, or else it's going to be in just the last couple laps when someone's going for the win. Because we're running out of cars to really have that big wreck.
Right. You almost need two.
You
really.
almost need two to have a multi-car wreck. So,
Well, we see obviously coming up after this race, it is the race day built by the Home Depot on Speed, and then the Bud Shootout will follow at 8 o'clock on Fox.
You know, one thing this attrition has done to this field is it's given guys like Darrell Basham an opportunity here to have a good finish. Right now, Darrell's being shown in the 9th spot. Darrell finished 9th here back 33 years ago is when Darrell got his other top 10 finish here. So
33 years ago.
Yeah, terrific job by Darrell. And you see that car without any damage on it. So he's done a terrific job avoiding these incidents. And great to see him having a good run. Maybe he can bring that thing home with a top 10.
We're sure pulling for him.
Top 10. And when you're still out on the racetrack and your car is in that good of condition, who knows what's going to happen? Green flag back in the air. They're all chasing James Busher. Patrick Shelter runs second. Justin Lofton is third. Joey Logano fourth. And John West Townley is fifth. Our 9-time champion Frank Kimmel running sixth. Ken Weaver is seventh. Larry Hollenbach eighth. Darrell Basham is ninth. And John Ferrier is 10th.
Well, those guys jumped around Patrick Shelton and shoveled him out a little bit. Now he's back to the 4th spot. That moved Justin Lofton and Joey Logano up to second, third. Now we've got Toyotas. 1, 2, 3.
Yep, up in front.
That was definitely time to make that move.
But way easier time to pass is right on the restart, isn't it, Kenny?
Oh, if you can't pass them before they get going fast, how are you going to try to pass them later?
Justin Lofton goes high on the racetrack, and now Joey Logano makes the pass, moves into second. Here comes Patrick Sheltra trying to hold on to third.
Not sure what that was about.
We're hearing that the 6th car had to give that spot back. We're hearing that he passed on the left on the restart, so he had to give that spot back. And I would assume that means he's going to have to get behind Patrick Sheltra in order to be able to give that spot back. And now he has done that.
He was behind him when they went across the start-finish line, so I'm guessing in ARCA's, in the official's eyes, he gave it back, and now he's racing to take that position back again on the racetrack.
Here's a restart. Watch right of your screen. Now you cannot pass to the left until you get past the start-finish line. There he pulled to the inside. He started the pass, and then he went ahead and completed it. Now, had he not completed it, he would have been okay. But what Joey Logano is really the beneficiary, because he was able to get by Patrick Sheltra. He didn't do anything wrong, and Justin Lofton had to give the spot back to Patrick Sheltra, and that allowed Joey to move up to second.
Yeah, plus, like, the people behind Patrick weren't worried about letting him back in line, so he's actually falling back a little farther.
Yeah, they didn't do an accounting and try to figure out where he was supposed to be.
Frank didn't say, well, just pull in here, you know.
Jim Trado, did he have an issue at the restart?
No, Patrick Sheltra's had a very good race. He was a bit surprised. There was chatter on the radio. I'm certain their crew was actually able to tell the ARCA officials what they thought of that maneuver, but indeed, to their benefit, they've had a really strong race car. They only pitted once, about lap 30 did Patrick Sheltra. They came down, changed 4 tires, no adjustments. This is the same RCR car, former RCR car, that he finished 5th with in Talladega. And Kenny, you know firsthand, he's called Mr. Showtime on the short tracks. We'll see what he's got left here to show the fans.
Well, he's really made a lot of progress last year, and it's good to see him up there. It's going to be exciting.
Boy, James Busher is really making that car wide. It looked like Joey Logano had a bit of a run down the backstretch, and James was using up that racetrack. And again, that's nothing that nobody else would do. I mean, anybody else would have done as well. So looks like Joey Logano right now has a real strong car. Looks like he continues to get some momentum and some runs on James Busher.
8 laps of racing to go. James Busher trying to hold up the young Joey Logano, and Patrick Sheltra right behind him. Then it's John West Townley in that 0-9 running in the 4th spot again, trying to make their cars a little bit wider, moving all over the racetrack going down the backstretch.
Well, Justin Lofton, he was able to move to the outside. Ooh, we got a slow car in the bottom. Justin's going to try to get on the outside of John West Townley to try to take over that 4th spot.
Again, that's Ricky Carmichael in that 33 without a front end. The field gets ready to go by him.
A little side drafting going on. Justin Lofton pulled down right next to the 0-9 of John West Townley. Looks like he's going to be able to clear him to move into that 4th spot. As we watch from Frank Kimmel's on board. Frank back in 6th right now. John West in 5th. Both of those drivers in Fords. 2 Toyotas up front, and then Patrick Sheltra in a Dodge running 3rd.
Running back there in the 5th spot, that 09 of John West Townley. Jim, what are they talking about?
They're talking about survival today. They actually spun early in that first caution, and they really only had flat tires, and they came back through. The car was a bit tight early on, but in the realm of things, they've overcome already going to a backup from a practice crash. This is the car they ran here last year and at Talladega, and certainly they're looking for a good run for John West Townley. They think they have a decent piece. The primary was better, but he's again soldiering on, getting in that top 5 run.
6 laps of racing racing to go. They cross the start-finish line. James Busher trying to hold off the 25 of Joey Logano. Patrick Sheltra back up to the 3rd spot. Then right behind him, Justin Lofton started on the pole today. He's running 4th. And John West Townley rounding out our top 5.
Remember, 3 of the 4 guys running up front have had wins in the ARCA Remax Series. James Busher, actually the very youngest winner we ever had back at Lakeland, Florida a couple years ago. Look at the momentum Joey Logano got with that run on the outside. He laid off him to get a little bit of momentum, and boy, he got it, didn't he, Kenny?
Yes, he did.
Oh, trouble! Justin Lofton into the back of the 60. Patrick Sheltra spins. Into the wall he goes. And now Kimmel spins around. Oh, and a big hit on Justin, or on the 60 of Patrick Sheltra. Our 6th caution of the day comes out, and what a big hit that was from the 23 of Larry Hollenbeck.
Yeah, Larry was running up in the 8th spot when they came by here last time, and boy, did he make hard contact with Patrick Sheltra.
The 44 with damage. The 60, that's Patrick Sheltra waiting for that window net to come down.
Just about took the back end off of that car.
The only thing I liked about what I saw there was it got hit towards the back of the car.
It spun him around a lot.
Yeah, not towards the driver's door.
Yeah, safety workers right out there very, very quickly.
They'll go to work trying to attend to the 60 and Patrick Sheltra. Again, what took place was Justin Lofton was just behind Patrick Sheltra. Sheltra moved up the racetrack a bit. It looked like Justin Lofton got into the back of that car then. Sheltra slid around, made contact with the outside wall, and then coming through on the high side, that 23 of Larry Hollenbeck made additional contact to the 60 of Patrick Sheltra. We saw the damage to the back of the 44. Frank Kimmel came a lot of damage.
Absolutely nowhere to go.
Safety crews working on Larry Hollenbeck as well. A lot of debris on the racetrack. You can see it behind the ambulance and the safety crews. They're switching from yellow to red. Looks like they're about to put the red flag out. They're going to send the field around. Normally they stop them over in turn 2.
A lot of debris everyone's ran through here too.
We're hearing they're going to stop the field in turn number 1. And so the pace car stops. You'll see them angle down. Jim Trado, I know you're down there by Kimmel's pit. What's taking place?
They've got the Roush Fenway team collection here of the Yates team with the helmets, of course, of the Menards colors, and the DeWalt team. That's Matt Kenseth's crew, again, trying to help out. They're trying the best they can to get this car out to finish the laps. They're just keeping an eye on where the pace car is. Bill Kimmel is making the calls as expected here as he's telling the team what to do from behind pit wall.
Again, Bill's son, Will, was also in this race. We see the yellow flag still out. Phil, you brought up a good point. You can't work on the race car if the red flag comes out.
Yeah, they're waiting for the rest of the field to get up there with the cars that are stopped over in turn 1. Once they get there, I think then they will display that red flag, and they will make Bill Kimmel and all his guys stop working on Frank's car. You see them putting the caution flag back away.
As soon as that red flag is displayed, and there it's displayed, they'll relay that information to all the officials, and I'm sure the official will stop. There he is telling him you can't work on the car anymore.
But they can examine it and see what all they will need here. There's Bill Kimmel right there, Frank's brother, Will's father. Gotta make sure he doesn't go across the wall now. Remember, no helmet, so they're not allowed to do that. Right now, you know, Frank is only being shown with 11 cars on the lead lap, so Frank right now is being shown in 10th spot. Jim Trado.
What they're trying to do, guys, they're trying to get the rear frame rails up. They're dragging in the fuel cells nearly on the ground. What Bill Kimmel's directing the team to do is to put the jack stands themselves underneath the rear hoop of the frame. He said then drop the jack, so it's actually working like a porter power in reverse to try to jack that frame up by using the jack stands as the support to push that frame back up into place so the fuel cell is higher, the car's not dragging, and he may be able to complete this race. Wendy?
Well, here on the 6th pit box of Justin Lofton, his crew chief, Mark Rett, is talking to Billy Venturini, crew chief for Joey Logano. They are forming an alliance and trying to work out these final 4 laps of this race, whether Billy and Mark, the two crew chiefs, can get the 2 drivers, Joey Logano and Justin Lofton, on the same page. They said they made an alliance before the race. They've stuck together most of the time, and the 6 of Justin Lofton just came over the radio and said, I really should have went with Joey Logano that last time around because he was able to pull away. We're going to have to wait and see. It's all smiles now, but it's going to be serious business in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Wendy. It's serious business right now on the racetrack as the safety crews continue to try to attend to the 60 of Patrick Sheltra and the 23 of Larry Hollenbeck, and that's why we're under a red flag condition. Those safety crews working to not only clean the racetrack up, but to attend to those drivers, and we will give you any updates as soon as we hear them. But again, they are trying to work on the 60 and the 23 right now. We'll be right back to give you more from Daytona International Speedway here on Speed. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway here in Daytona Beach, Florida, the first event of the 2009 season for the ARCA REMAX Series. And our 7th caution of the day has taken place, and it was the 60 of Patrick Sheltra, and the problem originally was the 60 of Patrick Sheltra and the 6 of Justin Lofton. And Patrick Sheltra got into the outside wall, and then as he was about coming to a complete stop, Larry Hollenbeck in that 23, he was coming along and made hard contact with the 60, and so they're working to get both of those drivers out of the race cars now. The safety crews are doing that. So let's head back to pit road and talk with Jim Trado.
With the race leader's crew chief, Mike Chaffee, now with James Busher behind the wheel. He made an awesome charge at the beginning of the race. Mike, what have you done to adjust to this race car to keep it so strong?
James has done a great job. We really haven't had to do much to the car or pound air pressure, and took a little wedge out. I mean, the thing is drove great since the time we got here. I mean, I really got to thank Toyota and Redline Oil. I mean, this car is really, really good.
What have you seen in this young man at age 16 winning with you guys at Lakeland, Florida, now getting an opportunity as Rick Crawford's teammate in the Truck Series? Tell me what you see in this kid and how proud you are to work with this kid, because every time it seems like he's in one of your cars, you're fast.
Oh, yeah, he's been great. When he was 15 years old working with us, he was like the calmest guy on the team. I mean, he calms me down. So it's unbelievable listening to him even here when they're dicing with him and stuff, just listening to how calm he is. He's a great young guy, and he's going to have a huge future in this sport.
A Texas driver, Minnesota-based team doing it on their own, and they may just might win this thing. Wendy?
And right now, Justin Lofton, his crew chief, Mark, you were making an alliance maybe with the 25. Did you work out a deal, or you're not going to tell us, are you?
Well, it was kind of like, let's make a deal here. 32's down here, 25's down here. Billy and I worked together all good all weekend long, and Justin's going to do what he has to do. We're running for points. You know, we got to be smart here. It's going to be hard to see how it shakes out.
Sounds like no alliances, guys.
Well, I'm guessing there's a few alliances, but who upholds those when the green flag drops is probably the true test.
Well, I mean, there may be an agreement right now with Joey Logano's team and Justin Lofton's team, and then if we restart this race and the green flag goes and Joey doesn't really go and Justin has an opportunity to go, then he's going to go by him, and the agreement's going to be out the window, because you're getting down to it now. We're showing inside of 5 laps to go, and as we've talked before, Kenny, passing on the restart is probably the easiest time to pass for these guys. So if Joey can get a run on James, even if they have an agreement, I mean, that's what he's going to have to take it if he can get it.
He's going to have to get it, and it's best if you can strike quick, you know, as soon as that green flag comes out. But I guarantee you that their main concern, all of them, is their car, and that's the one they're worried about.
And one of the main concerns we have right now, obviously, is the well-being of the 2 drivers that were involved in this accident. And you see the officials working diligently, but very cautiously, to remove these drivers from their race cars. We want to make sure to let you know, we will tell you as much as we can as much as we know about what is taking place with both of these drivers. But again, a reminder, caution is the biggest thing that all of these people are dealing with. They're not going to rush getting a driver out of a race car if maybe he says he's sore or something. They're going to do whatever they can to make sure that they stay safe.
Well, something that the ARCA Premax series and all the NASCAR series, what they've done on their safety and driver extraction and getting paramedics to the scene, what they've done over the last 10 years with that is phenomenal. I mean, it's the best it's ever been. They really have stepped up their safety programs.
And so that's what we're seeing right now, is they're cautiously working to get both of those drivers out of the race cars. Coming up next will be race day, built by the Home Depot right here on Speed. And that will be followed by the Bud Shootout at 8 p.m. on Fox. You want to make sure to stay right here on Speed, though, as they will get you ready for that Bud Shootout that will take place later this evening. Again, a red flag condition has come out as we had 13 cars that were on the lead lap. We were winding down the final laps of this race. It was scheduled for 80 laps. We had completed 75. We have 4 to go when they cross that finish line, just about 1,000 feet back there. You can see in the grandstands the fans sticking around here, anxiously awaiting the conclusion of this race, as well as the Bud Shootout, which will take place later tonight. But the safety crews continue to work for Larry Hollenbach and Patrick Sheltra's sake to get them into the ambulance and back to the care center and make sure that they are safe. We'll take a quick break, come right back with more. The Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 here on Speed.
This is where they earn their money. They're talking to them other spotters up there on the
Welcome back. Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 under a red flag condition. Larry Hollenbach in the 23 being helped out of his race car. Take a look at that. What a great sign as Larry Hollenbach salutes the crowd as the safety crew helps him from his race car.
As you can see, they took every precaution, Rick, as you mentioned. They had a backboard out and put Larry on. It looks like he's, obviously in pretty good spirits. There was a big smile as well as a wave and a thumbs up, and now they're going to obviously take him to the infield care center and check him over a little bit more thoroughly.
Again, Larry Hollenbach got into the back portion of the 60 of Patrick Sheltra, and so they're continuing to work on him. Get fired up, NASCAR fans. Speed is dueling at Daytona Thursday. The most exciting qualifying event in NASCAR can only be seen right here on Speed. It's the Gatorade Duel at Daytona. Be there for the 2 races that set the field for the Daytona 500. Again, live Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on Speed.
Rick, we've also been told that Bobby Gerhart has been transported to a local hospital, more than likely Halifax, for observation, just as a safety precaution.
And again, he walked to the ambulance after his incident. And Jim Trado, you've got an update.
Indeed, with the crew chief who's been through the ups and downs in the NASCAR garage and winning at the time the closest Winston Cup championship, Paul Andrews with Alan Kowicki. And you're now on the box for Ken Weaver. And wouldn't you know, on the board, you're sitting 5th. Tell us about your day thus far, Paul.
It's been an up and down day. We've had a pretty good car. The Cans stay in the draft really hard, really good, but it's been a good car. We come in on the first caution and just changed tires, and then after that we've missed several wrecks. We've come in with flat spotted tires twice, and actually we've got the same set of tires we started the race back on the car because we got a tire limit here. And but it's just pretty good. It's a little tight with this set of tires, and man, we're just happy to be 5th right now. I wish they'd just throw the checkered flag right now.
I think that's the hope of a few other guys on pit road. Wendy, what do you have?
Well, while I thought I was going to be doing NASCAR race day about this time, we're still working on this ARCA race. Found myself in a position I didn't think I'd find myself in right now. Billy, you were talking to Mark Rett down there. Did you guys make an alliance? Mark did tell us they're focused on points. So trophy would be nice, but they are looking at the big picture.
We're focused on the trophy. So, I mean, as far as we're concerned, we're going to try to win this race, and that's what I said even earlier when I got interviewed. And, because that's the most important thing, I think, for, well, the most important thing was to get experience for Joey Logano. And then second thing is try to win this race for Venturini Motorsports. And that's what we're here to do. And I think our performance has been excellent. you know, we qualified really well. All the Venturing Motorsports teams did excellent. I just hope that the Home Depot Toyota comes home in first. I mean, we didn't do all those hours to finish second, so we're gonna just do the best we can. And Joey Logano is the best talent I've ever seen, so I'm just hoping there couldn't be a better person in that seat.
Now, Joey Logano has found himself in this position in the past, running second. Do you think he maybe learned from that draft last time in that ARCA REMAX Series race? His spotter up there, Mark Robertson, same guy on the radio, giving him some tidbits of what to do when we go for this green-white checkered shootout.
I hope he learned something, because if he did and he plays it right, you know, I know he learned something because I've seen a big change working with him this week from Talladega. He looked, he's been awfully mature this week. He's been a pleasure to work with, just a true champion. And I think that even if he does everything right, sometimes you don't win here. But I think he's going to do the right move, and hopefully it will result in a win.
All right, thanks, Billy. Last time Joey Logano won for Venturini Motorsports was in Rockingham. Joey Logano, of course, has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. 18 years old. Let's not forget that, folks. Joey Logano trying to go for a win here in the ARCA REMAX Series before he heads over for the Bud Shootout later on tonight.
Thank you, Wendy. Again, Joey Logano sitting second. His best finish in a ARCA REMAX Series car at a super speedway is second. Talladega last year.
As well as one Rockingham, back that mile track, great track. Look at Ed Kennedy here. He finished 23rd last year at Daytona. Has a great run going. That car looks pretty straight. Thunder 2 on the quarter panel. Daytona Lagoons on the hood. Looks like he's going to be in a position to get him a great top 10 finish. So super job by Ed Kennedy and his guys.
I've been sitting here trying to fathom this 18 years old getting ready to run the Bud Shootout. That just blows my mind.
Yeah.
That kid has done a lot in a short period of time.
Sure has. A lot of great races coming up for him, and we are excited to see his career move forward in the Sprint Cup Series. Again, we're under a red flag condition. If you're just tuning in, looking forward to race day here on Speed. It will be coming up next. We're under a red flag condition. We have had 7 caution flags here at Daytona. And again, the Bud Shootout will follow race day, built by the Home Depot. But the 7 cautions culminating with this most recent red flag condition after we had a very hard crash between the 60 of Patrick Sheltra and the 23 of Larry Hollenbeck. Again, Sheltra got tapped from behind by Justin Lofton. That sent him up into the wall, and as he was spinning down the racetrack, almost came to a stop, and then Larry Hollenbeck got him on the backside of that race car, and it spun numerous times, and that sent the safety crews to work on both the 23 and the 60. And we are just being told that Patrick Sheltra has been removed from the race car and he has been put in the ambulance. So we will try to keep you up to date on everything that is going on with both drivers. Larry Hollenbeck, we saw him get out of that race car, and now we know that Patrick Sheltra is out of his race car and headed for the infield care center. We'll be back here on Speed. The Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 conclusion coming up. Next Friday, the sparks will fly as the Camping World Truck Series returns to Speed. It's the perfect storm of side-by-side racing action on the high banks right here at Daytona. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, racing the way it ought to be. That's Friday, 7:30 Eastern, kicked off with Chris Devoto in the setup show, and we are seeing cars roll around the racetrack now. As we've gone back to a yellow flag condition, they're cleaning up the race cars coming out of turn number 4. Again, the 23 of Larry Hollenbeck and the 60 of Patrick Sheltra. The safety crews have taken care of those 2 drivers, and we see the 44 of Frank Kimmel on pit road, and they go back to work on that race car now.
If they can just get that rear end off the ground, looks like they're able to drop the jack and may pull him out. If he can get out before the pace car, as you see him do right there, there's only 11 cars on the lead lap. There will be no Aaron's Lucky Dog because we're inside of 10 laps to go. So Frank is assured if he can just drive that thing around there for a couple more laps of finishing with a top 11 finish.
We know they're going to have to go. They'll have to send them around at least 2 times to try to go through the speedy dry or clean up the racetrack right now. That the fluids that were put down on the track from the cars that were involved in our most recent caution, you see them working on that right at the entrance to pit road.
See the caution flag still out.
With 3 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line.
Let's see if we can talk to our leader right here. Hey, James Busher, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. Do you have a copy?
I'm clear.
James, looks like here after you run another lap or 2 under caution, you're going to have a shootout, possibly a green-white checker. We know that 25 car Logano's been strong behind you. You got enough to keep him behind you, buddy?
I sure hope we do. I mean, he's been getting pretty good runs off turn 2 down the backstretch. Hopefully we can keep behind him. Just happy to get back rolling. See what happens here in this green-white checker.
You guys have done a terrific job making your way all the way to the back from the front. You've dodged all the incidents that we've had on the racetrack and trying to become one of the youngest winners we've ever had at Daytona. I hope you bring that thing home, buddy.
Sure hope so. Appreciate it.
James Busher today 18 years, 10 months, 12 days old. He would be the 3rd youngest driver to win at Daytona if he's able to keep that 32 out in front.
You know, that's amazing. As young as he is, that he would be the 3rd youngest winner we've ever had at Daytona.
Yeah. Take a guess at who, and he's had success. Take a guess at who's younger.
I know who's younger because Russell already told me.
Well, that's not fair.
Kenny, did you hear Russell tell you, or do you know?
I thought, and I was sitting in the grandstands that day. I believe, did I hear Kyle Petty?
Yes, that's right.
I was sitting in the grandstands that day, and I thought, 18.
And then Kyle Busch also won as an 18-year-old here, not quite as young as Kyle was when he won back in 1979. Did Kyle win at 79? That's right.
That's correct. Kyle Petty, 1979. He was 18 years, 8 months, and 9 days. Joey Logano currently 2nd as we continue around the racetrack under caution condition.
They're going to get to one lap to go signal this time. So when we come back, it'll be green-white checker, 2 laps, and that'll be actually a lap over, right?
Yeah, they were completing 78 laps, so they will get to, it'll be green and white together, so it's going to be a 1-lap shootout, because in the ARCA Remax Series, they will always try to end the race in the allotted number of laps, so it will only be a 1-lap shootout right now. So wow, is this going to be incredible. Look at all the damage in that. And that Kenny guy, Rick, is another 18-year-old Parker Kligerman. He ran 2 ARCA Remax races last year, finished in the top 10 in both of them. Done a terrific job here. We've got 4 drivers in the top 8 right now, 19 years or younger.
Now see, if I had a driver in my car right now for this shootout, I would want Ron Hornaday, because we know what kind of restarting man he is.
That's right.
Jim Trado. Jim, you got me?
Well, guys, you know, real quick, just thinking about the opportunities that started here. Kyle Petty's first ever race was here in 1979, won that race. Look at the 2001, Ryan Newman with Roger Penske getting involved in the ABC program, won the race here in Daytona. 2004, Kyle Busch, same procedure with Hendrick Motorsports, winning here, as did Tim Richmond, coming from Indy Cars in 81 to win here at Daytona. James Busher may add to the lore there of drivers getting their chance here at ARCA to move on to be full-time racers in NASCAR. Wendy?
Well, Joey Logano may have a little problem here. He is late for the Sprint Cup Series Bud Shootout drivers meeting. He was scheduled to start 19th in the Bud Shootout. He's a little busy trying to win this ARCA Remax Series race at Daytona right now. Joey Logano missing that drivers meeting could possibly, we haven't confirmed yet, but we'll be going to the back of the pack for the Bud Shootout tonight.
It really wasn't his fault, so I'm not sure why they would.
They pretty much know where he is.
I think they're watching, and so they would probably know that he had nothing to do with this.
I'll tell you, James Busher is going to be really, really vulnerable on the restart, because if he gets a big lead, then those guys will have some momentum. So really look for something to happen here on this restart.
And remember the boundaries. Yellow line, can't go below it to make the pass or improve your position, and you can't pass to the left on the restart. Green and white in the air. 1 lap of racing to go for the ARCA Remax Series opener.
He's already got too much of a gap right now. Joey Logano, I think, with a little help from Justin Lofton, will have some momentum when they get off turn number 2.
Going through 1 and 2 now. Justin Lofton behind the 25 of Joey Logano. Way out in front now. It's James Busher. He's got a 3-car lead as they go down the backstretch.
They should get some momentum here. They're all tucked up behind each other now.
They're not gaining as quick as I would have thought they would have. But
John
here they
West
come.
Townley on the outside. in that 09. Here comes the 25 of Joey Logano. Up the racetrack goes the 32 of James Busher. He's making that car as wide as he possibly can as they work their way through 4 and out into the tri-oval.
James Busher is going to be able to do it, Rick.
James Busher trying to hold on. Will he do it? He'll win at Daytona. James Busher wins in 2009. James Busher able to hold off Joey Logano as well as Justin Lofton and John West Townley.
James Busher, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. How does it feel to win at Daytona?
It feels awesome. I mean, this is awesome. ARCA penalized us after qualifying yesterday and sent us to the back of the pack. I can't thank these Winchon Racing guys enough. I mean, anybody else probably would have given up if we got sent to the back and had to rebuild the whole front suspension, but these guys didn't, and now we won Daytona, so that's great. It's awesome.
You did a terrific job holding off Joey Logano. Looked like they had you had about 3 car lengths on them. They never really got the run till they got to turn 3, and you made that car a little bit wide.
Except for, I mean, I knew he was going to try to get me getting down into 3, and when I got the run and started coming, I knew I was going to have to get pretty wide to keep him back there, but did what we had to do.
Terrific job, buddy. Good job.
And so James Busher, who is the youngest ARCA winner, he won at Lakeland 2 years ago in 07, and now he comes home the winner at Daytona. There's your top 10 as James Busher claims another win, his 2nd career win in the ARCA REMAX Series.
What a terrific job by all those guys running up front, dodging the shrapnel. Heck of a race.
A lot of attrition today, but it didn't catch up with James Busher. He's our winner in 09.